Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to JoyNews Today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. JoyNews is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, EC's proposal for election day to be made holiday not advisable. That's according to a political science lecturer who says the EC should focus on practical reforms, including the reversal of their decision not to use indelible ink.
Yes, we have been voting without a holiday. So why do you want to dedicate that day solely for voting without doing any business of government?
More as the EC continues to justify its proposal, adding it has the full backing of all political parties. We'll bring you details shortly. Also, former President Mahama amplifies calls by labor unions insisting government reverses decision to impose VAT on non-lifeline residential electricity consumption as they threaten massive unrest after a week. In sports, GFA sacks Chris Houghton, dissolves technical team after Ghana's exit at AFCON. We have business, sports, showbiz and world news coming up shortly. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram and X Spaces via JoyNews on TV. My personal handle is @Denana Aisha. Please do stay for details. Former President John Mahama has thrown his support behind organized labor's call on the government to stop the value-added tax imposed on electricity consumption. The group gave government 7 days to fully erase its planned imposition of 15% value-added tax on electricity consumption or face a nationwide showdown from organized labor. And its directive to the Electricity Company of Ghana, the Ghana Revenue Authority and the other government agencies, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta instructed that all power consumers above lifeline level must pay the new levy, which forms part of the government's COVID recovery program. But even before the policies rolled out, there's fierce resistance from all quarters. We'll hear from former President Mahama, but first listen to the Trades Union Congress that is up in arms against the government, saying TUC members will not pay VAT on electricity.
Union leaders preparing to give a showdown to government. The Trades Union Congress, the umbrella body for all labor associations in Ghana, say they are unhappy about government's latest decision to impose a 15% value-added tax on energy consumers above lifeline levels. The Trades Union Congress says many of their members who are already overburdened with taxes will be slapped with additional charges after the imposition of this new levy. Dr. Anthony Yalban is Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress.
It is worth noting that 30 kilowatts hour of electricity allows the lifeline customers to use only 3 LED bulbs, one electric iron, 1 television, and 1 fan. And I want to emphasize that this 30 kilowatts hour thing, lifeline, it was 50 since the early 90s. Then in 2022, PURC changed it from 50 to 30. They did it quietly. We note that since 2022, electricity tariffs have gone up by 73%. So in 2021, if you were paying 100 Ghana cedis, now that same customer is paying 173 Ghana cedis.
But there's a caution to government, a threat of labor unrest if government fails to totally reverse the policy.
So today, organized labor, we have come together again, and our message to government is very simple. We cannot pay VAT on electricity, period. We will not pay it today, we will not pay it tomorrow. So we are giving government up to 31st January 2024 to withdraw the letter. If by that time the Minister for Finance has not given the directive to ECG and NEDCO to stop the implementation of VAT on residential customers, we will advise ourselves.
Solidarity forever for the union.
Organized labor is up in arms against government, asking it to reverse the controversial 15% imposed on power consumers above lifeline level. A crunch meeting has just concluded here at the TEC Hall in Accra with a strong message to government to reverse the policy by the end of January or face thereof of the organized labor.
We are not ready to pay this VAT. It is not about reduction. It is not about negotiating it down. It is just wrong. And government should withdraw it wholly. That's all.
And that is why we have come together as organized labor, and we are calling on government to just remove that decision. If we don't get it, we'll continue to communicate on our platforms, and the next actions that we need to take, we will take them.
We are going all out, and I have indicated before in previous interviews during the DDEP that we are ready to grant this country and start afresh. We are ready to do that. We have sacrificed enough. We have sacrificed enough.
Leonard Sugan reporting for JoyNews, TEC Hall, Accra.
Meanwhile, 2024 flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, is expressing concern that the implementation of the VAT on electricity consumption would further burden Ghanaians who are already suffering from economic hardship. Excerpt of his statement on Facebook reads, he emphasized that the move will increase tariffs by nearly 21% and have a ripple effect on prices of goods, services and transport fares. He urged government to reverse its decision and provide relief to Ghanaians. He's also criticizing Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, stating that Ghanaians will continue to suffer as long as they remain in office. He highlighted the need for responsible utilization of recently released $600 million by the IMF and urged the outgoing government to exercise caution. The NDC flag bearer promised that the NDC is eager and ready to address Ghana's economic challenges and provide substantial relief to Ghanaians upon assuming office in January 2025. He's also mentioned his vision to create a well-paying job through his 24-hour economy policy and other initiatives. John Mahama has started his 3-day Building Ghana tour in the Ashanti region. Well, in a twist of events, the Trade Union Congress Ghana is questioning why the Ministry of Lands, Natural Resources has advanced work on its policy to remove value-added tax on multinational mining companies operating in Ghana. The group argues that a pledge was made by Sector Minister Abu Jinapo to the Ghana Chamber of Mines that the charges will be removed by close of the first quarter of this year. TUC says these resource-rich companies ought to be the ones paying more taxes, including VAT on electricity.
It is also important and very, very sad, comrades, very, very sad to note that why government is imposing VAT on us, residential customers of electricity. Plans are far advanced to remove VAT on mineral exploration in Ghana for wealthy multinational mining companies. And the media reports that we have read indicate that the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, in a meeting with Ghana Chamber of Mines, assured them, Abu Jinapo, assured them that that policy will be implemented in the first quarter of 2024. What kind of life is this? What kind of... you impose tariffs on poor consumers of electricity, and then the wealthy multinationals, you are going to remove it. And he met them and assured them that by the end of this quarter, they are going to remove VAT from exploration for these rich companies. I mean, so what kind of country Are we living? Normally, in situations like what we have in Ghana today, when our economy is misbehaving and so on, what happens normally is that our mineral resources, because those of you who have studied economics, minerals, gold and the rest, they are anti-cyclical. So if you have checked, when economies go down, people invest in gold. So if you have gold and there is a problem and your economy is going down, use the gold to prop it up. That's why they were trying this oil for gold, whatever they are calling it. In a situation like this, that's what we expect. When there are shocks, both internal and external, you use your mineral resources because this is God-given. You use it to deal with the shocks, to cushion your economy from this external and internal shock. But in Ghana, sadly, that is not the case. It's always the poor people in this country, including pensioners, who bear the brunt. And we should not allow that to continue.
On your election headquarters, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, is advising electorates to vote against candidates who refuse to redeem promises made to electorates. He says the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, has failed in his promise to ensure the reconstruction of a section of the KJTR market destroyed by fire. John Mahama, who expressed concern, is pledging to see to the reconstruction if successful in staging a comeback in 2025. He spoke during the NDC's 24-hour economy sensitization walk at the KJTR market as part of the Building Ghana tour of the Ashanti region.
The Building Ghana tour of the NDC is making a stop in the Ashanti region, and the first activity that John Dramani Mahama and the rest of the campaign team will be engaging in is the 24-hour economic sensitization walk, and it is one of the activities that the Ashanti region executives of the NDC have lined up for John Dramani Mahama. He'll be addressing the people at the KJTR market. At the moment, things are very difficult for some of the people, so she's expecting a president who will ensure that the economy is put in its right place to help these traders. Market, or they were able to sell and make some money. Unfortunately, after this market was pulled down for the second phase of the KJTR market, things are very bad. Unfortunately, the second phase has also stalled.
And so up to now, by some months in here. Some months in here, Omuntuminya, bench, Omni and Omni in here. In Sierra Mahama, Omara, if it's on one kaya crampo to me.
Hundreds of supporters of the National Democratic Congress have poured onto the streets of Kumasi to participate in the 24-hour economic sensitization walk. Presently, the people are at the KJTR market, and as you can see, a number of them with in party colors, some with vuvuzelas, and they are all here excited about John Mahama's presence in the Ashanti region.
Say the pine for no monk and so be pray. Now, a banway, your vice president, Obesha Bonsay, Ombesa Besiesi, a Jano, Sanabaya, Obetimi Ediga, Ewo, and then the Bejna, hey, we just throw home, let me show more, they are a home. And that's it. A bona is saying, no, you so. And Mokama come to you. And this is Baba. Yaba, a young Yabia. Yaba, a baby,
From the NDC to the NPP, as campaigning heats up for the parliamentary primaries in the Ashanti region, political scientist Dr. Asiedu Asiedu has admonished delegates to critically scrutinize candidates. The Bantama and Nhyiayeso and Tafo Pankrono are among constituencies blazing for the toughest contest on Saturday. Nana Boakye Adam has a spotlight on these constituencies where incumbent MPs are expected to face firm opposition.
In the Ashanti region, Bantama, Nhyiayeso, and Tafo Pankrono are some key constituencies where incumbent MPs are expected to face tough competition in the MPP parliamentary primaries. The Bantama constituency has witnessed intensive internal contests where incumbent MPs lose after their first term in parliament. Incumbent Francis Asensubuachi, who has been in parliament for one term, is however optimistic of victory.
The fiercest competition, I believe, was between myself and Honorable Kokofu. That was the fiercest as far as I'm concerned. This one for me is not it's a no match. When you go to the constituency, those who are voting, they see a big difference. Yes. Like a difference between a VIP bus and Pragia. Yeah. That is the difference. It's a no match. I don't see this as a competition at all. Because it will take a nation record to choose my opponent over me, given the unprecedented levels of development I've brought in Bantama against an opponent who has no record of active service to the party and to the competition. It will never happen in Bantama.
Raphael Lijapon is the unwavering opponent of Francis Asensubuachi, eyeing to unseat him from parliament.
He's an MP who can't even socialize with people. He's perceived to be arrogant, but now I agree with them because he talks as if he's, the chief of the world, calling himself VIP, and then me Aboboya, and then I'm visionless. Hey, excuse me.
Confident of his victory, Raphael shared his vision for the constituency.
Whatever I'm saying is genuine. I will not come to you, talk to you, and then just for the sake of asking you for your vote. I have a genuine heart for Bantama constituency, and I've been doing this over time. That's why you made mention of the fact that I have gained popularity over a short period. No, I have been in these constituencies, God knows when, the time I was born. And they know me, I interact with them. Anytime I'm out of Accra and I'm in Kumasi, I'm with Bantama people. They know what I've done for people who are seeking to get school fees to pay their tuition, medical fees, medical money for medicine and all that. There are a lot of them.
The decision of Dr. Emmanuel Kwabena for not to return to Parliament has opened up the Oforikum constituency for a tough contest. 5 candidates have been cleared by the party to contest Saturday's polls. One of the leading candidates in the Oforikum primary, Michael Edu, has described his victory as an apparent phenomenon. There's more in this report.
The New Patriotic Party is working towards its agenda of Break the 8. Around constituencies, machinery and tactics are being employed in hopes of raising the party's numbers in the December 7th elections. The Oforikum Party office has received logistics for effective party work gearing up for December's elections. A candidate in the Oforikum parliamentary primary, Michael Edu, has distributed 22 motorcycles to the 22 polling stations of the constituency. He says the gesture is to cement his obligations as a candidate seeking to represent the Oforikum constituency.
When it comes to elections, you need logistics to move around. One of the main activities that the party does is doing door-to-door campaigning. And when you don't have the logistics, it's quite difficult to move around various communities and neighborhoods. So with these motorbikes, I believe that we'll be able to garner the support that we need. We'll be able to enter the very difficult places that are difficult to reach. It will also speed up our processes in terms of the final day operations, in collecting of our pink sheets and other party strategies and operations. Today we have all the elders of the party here. We have the constituency executives. We have all the the delegates, most of the delegates present here, representing every electoral area. So this shows the level of acceptance that I have within the constituency. The delegates have accepted and believed in my hard work, and they also believe that I can advocate well for the party and represent the party well in the Oforikrom constituency. We are going to win these elections. We don't want anybody to fall into any issues. No cause for alarm. They should be calm and resolute behind me. 27th, they should go march peacefully.
The Oforikrom NPP constituency chairman Anthony Amankwa says breaking the 8 should be.
Political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Assar Sante, has expressed disagreement with the Electoral Commission's decision to stop the use of indelible ink. Dr. Assar Sante also says though he doesn't have a problem with the proposal to change the date of election from December 7 to November 7, he disagrees with the EC with the proposal to declare the day a holiday. The Electoral Commission has justified its proposal to shift the voting date for both the presidential and parliamentary elections to November 7. The EC is also advocating election days to be declared a national holiday. These proposals were presented during the Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting on Monday. Deputy Chairman of the Commission in charge of Corporate Services, Dr. Bosman Asari, says the proposals stemmed from reforms presented by the political parties in 2015.
Actually, we discussed two things: changing the election date to a day possibly in November. Then, secondly, making the day of elections a public holiday. Those were the two main issues that were discussed yesterday.
And the public holiday, was there an acceptance of that?
Yes, because we made it clear to them that in 2020 we succeeded in making IPAC, and the Electoral Commission wrote to the Chief of Staff to work on making December 7, 2020 a public holiday. And we're able to have a very high voter turnout. We gave a reason that the time for the EC to work on organizing the elections within 3 weeks will be very, very tight. And beyond that, the time for the inauguration, you have a new government and an old government living office, the time will be too short. So we gave those reasons for why we think that what was adopted in 2015 will still be relevant in 2024. So we told the parties that it came from them, they should support, so that all of us will work in tandem to ensure that we are able to have enough days in the event of a runoff, we'll be able to implement it successfully.
We can now listen to senior political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Assar Sante, who disagrees with the proposal for election day to be made a holiday.
There's nothing wrong with it. Once it's a proposal that is coming from the stakeholders, it shouldn't be difficult for us to accept, because by the time they propose, they have done all the groundwork. So they are convinced that that period is safe and it can support our cause. That's where I have a difficulty, because, you can, over the years, we have been voting without a holiday. So why do you want to dedicate that day solely for voting without doing any business of government? I think it affects our productivity. And for me, we are getting too many holidays, and it doesn't support the cause of a country that wants to build capacity and we move on in this globalized world. So I think that, yes, the first proposal is okay. You want to change the date and then put it in November. Well, but for a holiday, I think I have my different view.
The UK Prime Minister is set to host the 2024 edition of the UK African Investment Summit, taking place from the 23rd to 24th of April in London. The summit, which will bring together heads of states and businesses from 25 African countries, aims at strengthening UK-African partnerships for job creation and economic development. Speaking on the AM show, envoy for the UK African Investment Summit, Dr. Alistair MacPhail, indicated the summit goes beyond just investing in Africa, but also aims at creating a system of mutual benefit between the UK and Africa.
We have invited 25 countries at the level of head of state or government. We are inviting a lot of businesses because this really is about jobs and growth. And our government is determined that we should be building modern, long-term partnerships of mutual benefit based on respect. Well, the summit will be about jobs and growth. And so we hope that by creating deals which are of mutual benefit, that the financial difficulties that a number of countries are facing will not be completely addressed, but they will be lessened in some way by the fact that there will be new deals bringing investment into the country, creating jobs for the future, modern jobs that will operate in a different way. So the UK is a leading advocate of reform of the international financial system, but that's not the focus of the summit. The summit is about jobs and growth, and if Ghana or another country is an attractive investment destination, then those deals will happen.
Residents of Sebrepor in the Bonkatamanso municipality are resisting planned construction and operation of a filling station in their community. The residents deem the siting of the facility as a danger to safety and security in the area, with reference to the June 3 fire and flood disaster. Executive member of the Sebrepor Zone 3 Landlords and Ladies Association, Charles Dubin, addressed a news conference at Kakasonanka number 2. Here's more from correspondent Kwame Yanka.
The aggrieved residents say siting of the fuel station poses a great risk to hundreds of school children at Christ the King Presby Primary and JHS and the church, which are 3 houses away from the site. They added that the filling station, being a few meters away from the base ammunition depot of Michel Camp, could spell doom in the event of an explosion, as the depot experienced a blast about 4 years ago. Although these residents, since September 2023, have drawn attention of authorities to the potential dangers of the station, their cries have fallen on deaf ears. Executive member of the Sebrepor Zone 3 Landlords and Ladies Association, Charles Dubin, indicated they have informed Bonkatamanso Municipal Chief Executive, Samuel Oku-Amankwa, and others who matter.
We are giving the authorities 2 weeks from today. If they don't halt the project, the Residents Association, the citizens of this community, is going to demonstrate against the government, the authorities, the MCE, the commanding officer of Michel Camp, the commanding officer of BAD, because we've already written to them. So we are giving them 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, if we see anybody in that construction site, the resident is going to mobilize and then go against them. We will never allow anybody to come to the site and work.
Assembly member for the area, Prince Jacob Ajovo, shares his frustration in getting the Bonkatamanso Municipal Assembly to act.
So at a point in time, the complaint came up. There's a filling station going on here. We took time to confirm that. We sent this complaint to the committee in assembly with security and justice with a report. At our very last general meeting and assembly before the year ended, this issue came up. And we said that the community is against the siting of this station here. Therefore, what they want is that the thing should be temporarily halted until there's enough proof that really took permission from the appropriate authorities. In fact, if you take this write-up, the last page, you will see the conditions that must be met before such permit is given. And we don't think that those conditions have been met.
Resident Bright Seshi is worried over the deafening silence of state institutions and authorities.
Yes. When you branch, a car is negotiating, you are negotiating this curve and the car is coming out. How can you control yourself? Are you supposed to run? Are you going to run into the school, or you run into the houses, or you run into the car? What is happening? The military base is just here, BAD. We were told that this is where the whole Ghana, this is where our bombs are kept. There's concrete evidence, it's just here. Relies on here.
Meanwhile, representative of the Chief of Sebrepo, Emmanuel Aite, warned that the traditional authorities will not sit unconcerned for the spot to be used for a fuel station.
Must be halted immediately. Other than that, those who have received the letter sent to them will come and find dead bodies here. The message I brought from the chief is anything detrimental to the security and life of his subjects here must be stopped immediately. He didn't give the land for a filling station. He gave the land to late Sami Agbowoka, a retired military man, who resold part of the land to a developer. And the one who bought the land from the late military man might have also sold it back to a developer who is now putting up this sort of structure. So the divisional house is not aware that this thing is being developed.
When Municipal Chief Executive for Ponkatamanso, Samuel Okuamankwa, was contacted, he declined to speak on the matter. The residents have so far written to Environmental Protection Agency, Intema, Ghana National Fire Service at Bechile, General Manager of ECG, Tema Region, District Manager of ECG, Ashaman District, and Chief of Sebrepo. The rest are Greater Accra Regional Minister, the Chief of Defence Staff of Ghana Armed Forces, Commanding Officer of 1st Infantry Battalion, Bishop Camp, Base Ammunition Depot, and the Police Commander for Pong District. Kwame Yankes reports for Joy News.
Great afternoon to you and a warm welcome to the business segment on Joy News. Today with me, Pius Kojobaka. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, says a digitalized informal sector will enhance revenue identification and collection. According to him, the new global tax law will create the needed tax equity for both foreign and domestic businesses. He's been speaking to Joy Business.
I mean, tax is a sovereign right of every country, and every country charges taxes. And on the joking side, I mean, any tax is always a problem everywhere because we believe that we are overtaxed. But indeed, I think what has triggered this response is the fact that our tax administration has become a bit more aggressive. But if you compare to other jurisdictions, you'd wonder why our tax rates is so low. Probably less than 16% of GDP compared to the OECD where it's over 25%, and even some of our peers in West Africa, which is above 16%. And so you say that then there must be a gap somewhere. Now there are two ways. Either we are not collecting the right taxes, or we haven't widened our net enough to be able to, collect the taxes. But as I mentioned to you, the structure of our economy makes it difficult when 85% of your economy is SMEs and SMIs, and a lot of them are informal. And so with digitalization, the view is that we can formalize them and then collect the right taxes and broaden the tax net, as well as collect the right taxes. And I think that is what's important. And in that sphere, I'm not sure the investors are saying they won't pay taxes. No, they will pay taxes. And there's the new global tax law, which says that regardless of where you are, you should pay a minimum tax of 15%. So the question is that they will be taxed.
GOIL PLC has extended support to the victims of the Akonsobo Dam spillage to alleviate the plight of displaced individuals. Group CEO and Managing Director of GOIL PLC, Kwame Osei-Prempeh, said the move is to give back to communities it operates in. Now, he spoke to Joy Business during the presentation of a check of 150,000 cedis to the Member of Parliament for the North Tongue constituency, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa.
The initiative is to reduce the difficulties faced by the affected individuals and families and exemplify GOIL's commitment to fostering meaningful connections and actively contributing to the welfare of the communities within which it operates.
In October last year, the day he woke up to very sad news of overspillage of the Akosombo Dam, which caused many deaths and rendered thousands of Ghanaians homeless. You know that many responsible state institutions have come to your aid, and God, being one of the most respected companies in Ghana, cannot stay out of. So we decided from last year that we had to make a donation to mitigate your suffering.
Member of Parliament of the North Tongue constituency, Samuel Okudzeto Ablako, expressed his admiration for GOIL Ghana's thoughtful intervention.
And we want to emphasize that this is no mean a donation. It is a very huge one, and we deeply appreciate it. We have set up a trust of a sort where an account has been created. The chiefs, and then we appointed Professor Imanoneche Afedo, who is very good at disaster management. He is chairing the trust we call the Accountability Elders Council. So we want to assure you that this check will be paid into that fund, and it is administered very transparently. All our chiefs are part of the process, the deliberations, and they decide on how it should be administered.
And that's it for business. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Sports is next.
Welcome to the sports segment on JN Today. My name is Harun Ombarak. Now, Ghana FA says they will announce a roadmap for the future of the Black Stars' technical direction in the coming days. This follows the dismissal of Chris Hughton as Ghana coach and the dissolution of the entire technical team. My colleague Kwesi Adai Kwatin has been getting reactions from some Ghanaians about the decision.
It can be a good news, but I think that is what should happen. A coach was given a chance, to perform, as it were. I don't know the contract that the government had with him, the GFA had with him, but they gave him an assignment that do this for us. So if you don't do it, you need to be sacked. So I don't have any problem him being sacked. Now, if you look at our players, most of them are playing abroad. They are foreign players, right? So what does the coach teach them when they come to camp? Because the coach has to teach them his strategy, what they should do for him to win matches. And it never happened. So I'm not surprised he has been sacked anyway. Ghana needs to sit up and get a very good coach, either from the English Premiership, from the Spanish La Liga, or the Italian Serie A. Get a coach. We should be able to pay them instead of throwing the money in the garbage. Pay them well and let them do the job for you.
If the GFA sacks the coach, they should sack them. They should also sack themselves. They should also sack themselves because they are part of the problem. Listen to me. You see, when it's a teamwork, are you getting me? The coach cannot work in isolation. There should be support between the support from the GFA. Are you getting me? So they give support that they think they can give. But when it comes to psychological support, the ones that they should do to push him up, it's not there. It's not there. So you think sacking him will not solve our problem? If we sack the coach, we'll bring another coach. If we don't change our attitude, if the control, the influence, if we don't stop it, we'll come back to the same problem.
I think it's normal. Every coach can be sacked. But when we look at the content, why do we sack the coach? Is it the performance of the players or is coach error? One thing we should look at that. So I don't see why you should sack the coach. There is something you need to resolve it within the team, okay? Where he did his best as a coach. He has given a role to play as a coach. So what do you expect from the coach? Is expecting the players to do what? To produce what he has shown you on the pitch. So on the field of play, coach has nothing got to do with players.
It's a very good decision for them to sack the coach because it's not the tactics and everything doesn't work for the team. So there's a need for them to sack the coach, and I think it's a very nice decision. They have to dissolve the technical team and everything for them to restart everything again.
It's good that they have sacked the coach because we need a perfect coach. But it's not perfect. How he arranged the players is not good. You need to find a good player so that they can play the game well. But the coach, those who are not good, no.
That's your sports on JN Today. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Up next is World News.
Before we go, let's take you to the conference center because the Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize GStep Challenge, where over 100 junior high school teams are showcasing their prototype projects dedicated to tackling societal issues, is underway. This afternoon, we'll put a spotlight on projects addressing waste and climate change. Now, let's cross over to the Accra International Conference Center, where Joy Prime's Shola Adeyemi is on the ground to bring us the exciting details. Shola, what more can you report from the Accra International Conference Center?
Prize challenge is happening. Now, we said that the contestants here or those people here to show us their prototypes are actually, they've been tasked to go into their communities, look into it, see challenges that people are facing and come up with prototypes, to, help solve these issues. Now, behind me is a team. These people are focusing on, solving waste issues in the community, and I'm going to speak into them very, very shortly. Hello, guys, what's your name?
Hello, we are Team Brentech all the way from Eastern Region.
Right. Now, earlier I was saying that GStep gives you teams the chance to go into the community and identify, challenges and then come up with good solutions for them. So I see in front of me, what is the name of this prototype here?
This our prototype is the automated gutter cleaning system.
So what does it do and what are the components?
Our automated gutter cleaning system is designed to pick rubbish from the gutter. It creates space for water to flow, improving the drainage system.
Right. So with this, how does it work? I want to see how it works.
Okay.
So it's made up of components such as the solar panel, the power bank. The solar panel works during the day and the power bank during the night. And also you have our PVC pipes here, our gutter here, our trash bin here. So as it's being stretched on, the rakes on the conveyor belt starts moving and starts picking up the rubbish here and drops it into the trash can without any human interference of using manual tools like shovels to get into the gutter and use it to dig up the rubbish from there.
So you heard them. This and more is happening here at the Accra International Conference Center. A lot of the contestants or the teams here today have come up with very, very genius innovations to help solve societal issues. As I said, they are tasked to do so. So yes, if you want to pass by, you're free to come here at the Accra International Conference Center. We are here to the close of the day because we are going to be seeing a lot more of the innovations. Please do stay. Do not go anywhere.
And that's the wrap of the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. One of the stories you will see, we don't support the November date for elections. That's according to NDC Communications, Director of Elections, Dr. Boama. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.